Now let's focus on question number one first, right? Just as has been shown on the screen. Then we're going to be looking at the X, which is the training hours, and the Y, which represents the employee performance score, right? Now, what you're asked to do is to compute the regression line, and regression line is given as Y equals alpha plus beta X, or some persons will call it A plus B. Okay. But for you to get A or get B, there are still formulas. Now, one funny thing is that whatever you are doing, please know the formula. Once you are able to do the, or once you are able to identify the formula, you've known about 60% of that question. Because all you'll be doing is just to substitute whatever values you have into the formula, right? Now, since they ask you to compute this regression line, there is formula for A, there is formula for B, so that whenever they now ask you to predict, they will give you the value for S. All you do is just to impute and predict the future occurrences. Okay. Now the question is, what is the formula for B? Now we're going to be making use of the least square regression. Least square for B, B will be equals to, you have what we call N, which is the total number of employees you'll be given. That is from the question, I think 10. The N summation XY, okay, that is summation X times your Y, isn't it? Then minus summation X summation Y, okay, then all divided by N summation X squared minus summation X all squared. Now this one here is different from this. This one means you are going to be looking for summation of X, but then you square it. Why this one? There is a column for summation X squared. I will show you from the table. So if you are able to state this formula, then having the values for your table will be very, very easy once you are able to do that. Now, this is the formula for B. Now, what about the formula for A? It says you're going to look for the mean of Y, then you subtract the mean of Y from the value of B you are going to be getting, multiplied by the mean of X. Now, this is the formula for A, this is the formula for B. Once you are able to state this formula, trust me, creating your table will be very, very easy. Now we'll be going straight to creating the table. Now, in our table, in the question, we were giving value for X, we were giving value for Y. Now, in this formula, we have X squared, but we don't have it here, so we have X squared. We don't have Y squared, right? But we have XY, which is the next XY. So this is what your table will look like. Is that okay? This is what your table will look like. So we're going to impute all the values from the question for X here and for Y. All right, so we now have the values for X and for Y as given from the question, right? But trust me, at this time, you need your calculator. Your calculator should be your friend, okay? So that you won't miss out. Don't try to say, oh, you want to do the, make use of your calculator as I will be using it to here. But there are some little ones that you actually do not need it. If you just need to let it be the way it should be, right? Now, if you check, this is x raised to power 2, which is x raised to power 2 is 2 times 2, you have 4. So here you have 4. 1 raised to power 2, 1 times 1 is 1. 3 raised to power 2 is 3 times 3. And 3 times 3, you have 9. 4 raised to power 2 is 4 times 4, you have 16. And then 1 raised to power 2, you have 1. Now, this is how you get this value for 2, x raised to power 2. Now, for xy means x is multiplying y. That means the value of x will multiply the value of y. So to get this place, you're going to say 2 times 3, you have 6. 1 times 2, you have 2. 2 times 6, you have 18. So that is what you are going to do to fill up that space. Now we have our table filled up, right? Good. All these things really do not matter to us now. What really matters to us is to find the total of each and every one of them. And how do you do that? You're going to add up all these together. Whatever you have, you write it here, because that is what we are going. Whatever we arrive here, okay, is what we are going to be using here, which is this sum. This symbol means summation. So summation means to add up. So we're going to add up everything here. We also add up everything here. We add up everything. We add up everything. Now this sum is what we are going to be imputing into this formula to get what we want. Is that okay? Sum of all this, if you add it up, is 44. Okay. If you also add up all this, you have 65. Please make sure you follow it. Use your calculator, punch it, and make sure you arrive at it. Okay. Make sure you get it. As you are watching, you punch, you get it. If you are to sum all this, I think this will give you 254. So the sum of all this also will give you 329. Now, these are the values we are going to be making use of. Let me bring it out here from this table, and then we'll clean this table and we'll start solving. Now, remember that n is equals to 10 because they are about 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, summation xy, which is this row, is 329. Then summation x in summation y will be equal to 65. What else? What else? Okay, too many days. Then summation x squared will be equal to 254. First thing first, please, if you can't understand this formula, memorize it for exam's sake. Okay. Know what it entails in the formula, know what and what you need, and then follow it accordingly. Use the formula to create your table, and then pick this out. Please, all what I'm doing, just be breaking it down. The table should come under this formula, then this perimeter should come under the table to show that you've actually picked out the value you are looking for from the table. Then you can now start imputing all these values into the formula, and then you simplify. Then I'll tell you what to do afterwards. Is that okay? Okay. Now we have this back. Remember, we picked this from the table we have. If you cannot remember, we did that. Just go back and forward, rewind back, and then watch. Now we're going to be imputing all these. Remember, I told you all those things we have in those tables really do not matter unless the sum we have. So we're going to be imputing all this into the formula. Just see how we do that, okay? And then practice it over and over again. It's very easy, trust me. So B will be equal to n. Remember, n is 10. You bring out your 10, open a bracket because everything will be here. Then summation xy. So you say it's 329. Your minus sign. Then summation x is 44. Then summation y is 65. Remember, summation x is multiplying summation y. So these two will be multiplying. This n is multiplying the whole of this, so the two will be multiplying 2. Then over n also is 10. Summation x squared. X squared. So 10 will be multiplying 254 minus summation x, which is this one, 44. But you're going to raise it to the power of 2. So please, with this now, trust me, doing your normal multiplication, please let calculator be your friend at this point. Always punch as you are seeing you are punching so you understand, okay? Trust me, it's very easy. So when you punch calculator to this, you're going to have a 3290 because then we now multiply this to, you have something like 2860. The denominator, if you multiply this, you have 2540. Take away this raised to power 2, that is 44 times 44. So I think you have 1936. Like I said, please go through it using your calculator so that you understand it better. Now, if you do your minus this over this minus this, you're going to have I think you're going to have 430 all over 604. Remember, it's B we are looking for, right? Now, if you divide 430 over 604, We are going to have B equals to or approximately 0.7119. The next thing is to get for A. Remember, A is y bar minus B x bar. Now, this B is what we have here already, so you don't need to start worrying, where are we getting our B from? So what you'll just be worried about is to get your y bar. What is y bar? To get your x bar, what is x bar? Now remember, from our table, we have value for x, we have value for y. So y bar means, y bar is the same thing as a mean, the mean of y, and x bar is the same thing as the mean of x. Is that okay? And now what is the formula for mean? It's the same thing as summation y over n. The same thing with x bar is the same thing as summation x. Now, what is summation y? Summation y is 65. So the mean of y will now be 65 over 10, which is the same thing as 6.5. And then summation x will be 44 over 10, which is the same thing as 4.4. Now, you see this. So your A will now be equal to mean of y, which is 66.5 minus 44.4 b. So please, like I said, make a calculator your friend at this point, because you don't need to waste any much time. Now, if you do this subtraction, subtract this from this, you're going to have 3.3676 approximately. Now you can decide to approximate to the 3 decimal place, to 2 decimal place, either to 1 decimal place if possible, right? Now we've gotten our value for A, we've gotten our value for B using all this. The next thing we're going to be doing now is to place all these values for A and B on that our regression equation line. Is that okay? Now, these are the values we got for B and for A. So you can approximate to 2 decimal place or even to 1 decimal place. So to 3 decimal place, we have this. And then this one also to 3 decimal place, we have this. Now, our regression line, which was the question they asked, will now be equal to A, will now be 3.68 plus our B is 0.712, then X. This is the question you were asked. This is the regression line that you were asked. But I think another question in this question one has to do with prediction, which I will show you using this. Is that okay? I think the question B says you should interpret the slope. This is the slope. B is the slope. Okay. So note that B is equals to the slope, and the question says you should interpret the slope, and the slope is the same as 0.712. Is the interpretation of the slope will be on the screen as you see. Just read it and get it right. And what does it say? It says that for each additional 1 hour of training, an employee's performance score is expected to increase by this value. Okay, it's expected to increase by this value. You understand? So the part C of this question says you should predict the performance score when the training hours, which is X. So if X we are going to forecast or predict, for example, now this is the C part of the question. The B part says you should interpret this. So for every 1 hour increase, there is this on the screen. So just read it and understand that. Okay. Now we're going to predict when X is equals to 9, making use of this regression line. Okay. So remember, Y is the performance and X is the hours you have, right? The time. Now, when X is 9, what is Y? That is what they're asking. Since you already have values here, so we'll just replace this with 9. Then you now say, remember that Y is equals to 3.368 plus 0.712 X. Now, when X is 9, you now have 3.368 plus 0.712 into bracket 9. Use this to multiply this, Whatever result you have, add it to this 3.368. If you multiply these two, you have a 6.408. Okay. Now, y, if you add these two, so you have a 9.776. Okay. So this is the predicted value you were asked to get. Is that okay? This is the regression line. This is the value for B. This is value for A. Remember, to get B, you are going to be using the least square. And to get A, also the formula for A is there. Please, the key to all this is for you to know the formula. You think you cannot study the formula to know it now, it's advisable you get it right. Because once you are able to state the formula down, trust me, you solve 60% of the problem you have there. Is that okay? Thank you.